my product marketer, my understand of the predictions is that if you're not already using AI, you're late. You're way behind. You need to figure out, even if it's just how to ask ChatGPT and have a conversation. I think everyone at this juncture needs to be using AI.
Welcome to Building Bytes, where we tell relevant stories about Ghana's tech ecosystem to drive growth and innovation. In today's episode, we are diving into the future of technical hiring with Akua Sencherey, a Ghanaian-American product marketing manager, leader at Andela. And you know how in today's fast-paced world, it's very difficult to find the right talent. Today, we are going to dive deeper into how to hire faster, smarter, and more efficiently using the Andela's adaptive hiring processes. But before that, what happened in tech, y'all?
Yeah. So today we are looking at just a couple of stories in what happened in tech. The first one is a very interesting story from Tech Lab. It's not really a story, but highlighting their newsletter today. So they highlighted that Ghana is now positioned in. It's not a new entrance in the big five tech markets. So initially there was big four, and right now Ghana has made a new entrance, and this is based on data. It's not just based on what you think, and it's based on the amount of money that we've raised as a country so far.
Wow.
Combined, we've raised over 45 million USD in the last quarter of this year, and it's a very impressive one. So moving on to the next story.
I think just like the first one, I think it's stated private equity.
Yeah.
So specifically in terms of private equity, it's like the big tech. And
So what are the big four?
Let me just
Egypt, South Africa, Kenya, and
Nigeria. Yeah. I just knew Nigeria.
South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, and then Kenya.
And now Ghana is part.
So now big five.
I think in the story, I saw them highlighting Fido, Kofa, and Country Farmer as movers and the people who basically made Ghana go into the big five. Yeah, so congratulations to this company. I think they are trailblazers, and we should congratulate them as is due. Yeah, so this is good news for the Ghana tech ecosystem.
It's actually good news for people who think we don't have an ecosystem. So it's a good one for them.
Okay.
Move on to the next story. WeWire is the only Ghanaian startup to make it to the third cohort of the Visa Accelerator program.
Wow.
So this is the third cohort. I think for the first cohort, from Ghana, we had
Affinity,
and then
Akua Center. We have Ose. What else? Yeah, Affinity, Akua Center, Ose. We have Blue Penguin.
Blue Penguin.
We did
one
before.
Agritech.
Akua Center.
Akua Center.
Yeah.
But for the third one, we have WeWire in there. I think it's a good fit for us. Yeah. I mean, we have been represented gladly by WeWire.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good stuff. Well done, WeWire.
So the last thing for what happened in tech, during our last recording, we mentioned you weren't around.
Yeah,
you went to Africa
Tech Festival. Yeah,
how was it
in Cape Town? It was an exciting program. Apparently, they've been running it for 27 years.
Wow.
I mean, I just got to know about it a few months ago, and it was very big. I mean, you could see it in the size and scale of it. They were running simultaneous festival while they were running the AI Summit. Mm-hmm. They were running Africa Ignite. And, there was a whole lot of other events happening around it. A lot of mixers and, a lot of gatherings. It was an exciting event. And, I did a video from there. So, we put it in the next clip.
Looking back on the African Tech Festival as a whole, it's clear that this event is more than just a conference. It's a celebration of Africa's immense potential in technology and digital transformation. It was powerful to see major global players like Meta and Microsoft exhibit again, demonstrating their commitment to supporting Africa's tech landscape and talent. Their presence brings valuable resources, scalability, and knowledge that can drive connectivity and digital skills across the continent. Equally inspiring with the local setups like a HOAD, showcasing alongside these tech giants. And you and other African startups are building solutions that are tailored specifically towards African communities. We highlight how Africa's tech culture is not only supported by global resources, but driven by global innovations. This mix of international and local perspective felt energizing, showing that Africa's tech ecosystem is built on collaborations and unique African insights. One of the highlights of my trip is meeting Salom Adadivo, Chief Commercial Officer of MTN Group and former CEO of MTN Ghana. Connecting with a leader of his caliber who has had such a significant impact on the telecom landscape across Africa was truly inspiring. Tonight, I'll be attending Tech Safari's Mixer, which promises to be another fantastic networking opportunity with innovators across the continent. I'm excited to connect with more people from the ecosystem and explore ways to continue sharing African tech stories. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to sharing more insights from Cape Town.
Okay, so thank you very much, Yao. So now we are moving on to our conversations today. To introduce our guest today, Akua Sencherey, like I mentioned, is a Ghanaian American product marketing leader at Andela. Andela is a global platform for skilled technical talent. With over a decade of experience in client success, sales, customer experience, and marketing, she has been pivotal in launching Andela Talent Cloud in 2023. I believe she's going to talk to us about that. And she has also been driving the company's adaptive hiring model. Her leadership has significantly shaped new product capabilities and improved customer value. Akua is also a passionate advocate for remote work and travel, having visited over 75 countries and sharing her insights on the intersection of tech, travel, and global connectivity. And I believe if we give her the opportunity, her profile extends even beyond this. So thank you very much, Akua, for joining us. It's good to have you on the Building Bytes podcast.
Thank you all for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, so adaptive hiring, agility in hiring. I mean, when I first saw the topic, is the first time I've heard agility in hiring, especially the HR space, usually in the project manager space. What does it exactly mean, and why is it crucial more than ever?
Yeah, so I want to first start by defining agility so we can all get the same understanding. So agility as a word refers to the ability to move quickly and easily. And in hiring, it means the same thing.
Okay.
It's that ability to quickly and effectively adapt to changing business needs by finding, hiring, and onboarding talent as soon as projects demand. So it's more crucial than ever because there's quite a significant talent shortage, which I'm sure you guys have heard about, the whole tech talent war and tech talent. everyone is talking about tech talent this, and it's really costing companies literally trillions of dollars. So there's some stats I want to share with you guys, which are really big. So Korn Ferry is a global organization that's a consulting firm, and they released a report that said by 2030, there will be a global human talent shortage of more than 85 million people.
Wow.
So to put that number, 85 million, into context, that's roughly the population of Germany, Germany.
Wow.
So that, yes, so massive shortage. So that shortage exists really because there just aren't enough skilled people to do the work that's needed. And that report was largely talking about tech talent. It went on to say in that report that cost of the talent shortage could result in about $8.5 trillion in unrealized annual revenues for companies. So it's a huge deficit, right, for companies missing out on these skills. It's a huge opportunity, I would say, for talent, right, to fill that gap. And one reason I believe that those connections are being missed between now and then is because we are working on and relying on a conventional hiring method that's just super slow, expensive, where you send out job postings, you wait for candidates to respond. Some of our research shows that people will spend over 100 hours per candidate in that hiring flow. It's a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money being spent. So it's extremely important for companies to, at this moment, adopt a more agile approach to hiring that allows them to, again, quickly and effectively find talent with the right skills when they need it.
Wow. Okay. So then how does adaptive hiring model comes into being? Because it looks like you at Andela, you have a structure in place to lead this agility in hiring. So what is it about? Tell us more.
Yeah, so without being super technical, of course, like agile methodologies, right? They have flexibility, they reduce waste, they support needs. So an adaptive hiring model is much similar in that, where it's a more modern approach
Okay.
that by nature is agile and enables companies to find the right talent, be more flexible, find the right skills at the right speed and cost. So I'm going to run you through a few of the pillars, similar to how agile methodologies have pillars.
Yeah.
Adaptive hiring has 5 pillars.
Okay.
The first is that it's global, it's fast, it's agile, it scales to meet demand, and it's optimized for cost.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run through what each of those means.
Okay.
It being global means that you can hire the best talent from anywhere in the world without regard to where they are based, their location. So you're able to kind of maximize on time zones, on geographies, etc. It's also fast, which means it frees up hours of a tech team's time per hire and accelerates their development cycle. Andela actually did the work and commissioned a research study by a large company called Forrester Research. And they confirmed that with Andela's adaptive hiring model, companies can hire 66% faster and deliver 33% more productively against their roadmaps. So that's, much more quickly
Faster.
on not just hiring, yes, but also like being able to deliver. So a part of that speed to productivity is the ability to onboard talent that are ready to go. So within days you're onboarding versus months. The fourth thing that I mentioned, it scales to meet demand. So it provides the flexibility to scale a team up or down as business needs change. If you need an individual, if you need a team of people, it's that flexible. And then the last thing is that it's optimized for cost. So of course, companies love to talk about cost cutting, right? Cost management. It allows companies to pay for the skills that they need while maintaining quality. So that Forrester study that I mentioned also showed that we were able to deliver 40% more cost-effective solution versus traditional hiring. So us, Andela, we do this every day through our platform, Andela Talent Cloud, where we give companies access to talent marketplace of over 150,000 people across 135 countries. We're able to deliver that flexibility.
Okay. Now, I would like you to bring it down to like real life examples and real instances where you have used this model and how it has like ultimately helped companies in their hiring process. So you mentioned something about hiring global teams and making sure that the teams are, from different time zones are hired, efficiently and faster. Can you come into terms in terms of real life examples on that?
Definitely. One of my favorite examples of, the benefits of timeline and speed to delivery is with the weather company.
Okay.
They are a leader in global weather forecasting. I don't know, have you guys heard of the weather company or used any of their apps or products?
The weather company?
Yeah.
Okay. They
Thanks.
have.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Definitely a large company. Their core problem was that they faced intense market competition and needed to quickly expand their engineering team to incorporate, which I think a lot of companies are doing in this moment, large language models, generative AI, and supercomputers.
Yeah.
And being a weather company, they manage on a day-to-day basis a massive data set of over 100 billion requests per second. And so they needed at that time to get a globally distributed engineering team to maintain the reliability of that data around the clock. So TWC came to us and we worked with them to understand the core skill needs that they had, to understand a bit more of that time zone overlap, their budget. And we then leveraged with those needs, we took it into our platform, Andela Talent Cloud, and that was able to quickly match them to talent across QA, machine learning, DevOps, and data science. Mm-hmm. So with this precision and the speed to match to these professionals, TWC was able to gain a 400% coverage across the globe. Mm-hmm. So what does that look like? That's expanding from just 3 countries that they had initially to 15 different countries, including untapped markets in Africa and Latin America for them.
Wow.
So really, it was a huge success at that inception of working with the weather company, and then we've expanded to actually over 100 global engineers with them, which is a large footprint for us. And we've been really fortunate to do kind of similar things with other companies on the continent of Africa, including MasterCard Foundry, Safaricom, and also a large bank based out of Egypt.
Wow. Congratulations on that. So
Thank you.
there's this perception about I'm sure you're using artificial intelligence in this matching process. I saw this post on the internet sometime about the fact that AI models some way somehow discriminates against people in Africa and against women. So on a regular basis, you see that most of the people that are being matched are either people who are, white, and they have, not weird names like how African names are, and they are mostly people who identify as a he. How is Andela including everyone in this adaptive hiring processes? Can you also go into details, as much as you can, into how this matching is done? Yeah.
For sure. Yes, I'm glad you're calling out that I'm a product marketer and not a product leader, meaning there might be a little bit of a technical gap in my knowledge. But I do know I do have a response to this that I know for sure. What I'll say, kind of to bring as well the core of adaptive hiring as a model, it focuses on skills. So when a company comes to our platform, they are focusing on the skills that they need. They're literally putting in, hey, what's the job description? What's the skills? What's the time zone I need? How long do I need them for? So from the start, you're not necessarily seeing people and looking at, having that bias as a human. You're just putting in the skills. Okay. From there, our platform uses that information to then go into and search our network of over 150,000 people and makes that match. It shows the recommendations to the person who is looking, who's hiring for that job. So they're able to see those people. What I will say is, from the point of how we match as a company, there isn't bias to, we don't have the data on, is this person a female or a male? We don't have the data on, right? Like, our system doesn't know what's a weird name versus a common name, right? So our system isn't biasing. If the person is biasing who's looking at it, that's a different story. And I think that's something that the tech industry at large, right, will need to, and society really will need to address. But we're serving up recommendations unbiased. And I think another cool thing about how Andela at least tries to overcome such a challenge is within a person's profile, right, that a company can then look at. They're able to see, kind of like a resume, I would say at first, the experiences that they have, but they can also see their any assessments that they've taken, technical assessments. So they're able to actually view their work and see, okay, besides this person, right, living wherever, looking however, being whoever, what's the quality of their work? They're able to look and review a code test that they've taken and watch a playback. Okay. So from there, they're able to go past the person and say, okay, how does this person think? How do they problem solve? So these are ways, just the ways me as a marketer can explain that we're trying to overcome that bias. But I think bias is a huge thing that as a society and in the tech world, we need to overcome in general.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned something about testing people's problem-solving skills and testing basically soft skills, which is something that most of the hiring processes you don't really see. People are mostly focused on the CV and what you can actually do, right? And so can you talk to us more about the talent cloud? How do our listeners who are talented, skilled tech professionals, how do we also get into the cloud so that we can have access to some of these benefits that the adaptive, you're going to go to the benefits, but then tell us more about how individuals can access the Andela Talent Cloud.
If we're focusing on skilled tech professionals, right, who might be listening, the way they can access the Andela Talent Cloud is by going to andela.com. Okay. And signing up and starting a profile. Okay. So those steps, the fortunate thing about Andela, we've always been a company that is focused on top talent and making sure our talent are certified and qualified. So even today, we have a focus on that. So if you're, new to the marketplace, you'll actually go through a series of different qualifications. You'll be tested on English proficiency because most of the clients who will hire you will have English as a baseline. They might, hire you for other languages, but English is the main form of communication. They'll test you on your technical abilities through our platform called Qualified. And then you'll also be interviewed by one of our experts who's in your same domain. And they'll make sure that, you have the communication ability, you can speak through, right, your expertise and talk through, again, it's problem solving, but on a human level. Can you explain your ideas? Are you personable? And then from there, if you pass those initial phases, then you get entered into the cloud per se. Okay. So the Andela Talent Marketplace. From there, I want to also be clear that, not everyone who's just in the marketplace just quickly gets a job. Okay. That would be amazing and awesome. But what I think is a huge additional value add for technologists coming into Andela Talent Cloud is you get access to other opportunities. You get access to upskilling. We actually just released 2 partnerships this week, announced them. One with the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, where we're training African talent on Kubernetes, which is huge. We're trying to train 20,000 talent across Africa on that. We also recently announced a Microsoft partnership where we're also training them on Azure. We have a lot of other similar programs also with NVIDIA. We have also quick courses that you can take through Udemy. So there's other ways in which you can upskill and be prepared for the workforce, whether you're getting a job through Andela. And then you have access to other talent, right? To network, as mentorship. Sometimes you host meetups. I know we've done meetups in Accra. Unfortunately, I have not been able to go to them because I wasn't here. But they have different meetups as well in Talent Hub. So I would say that on the talent side, that's how you have access in terms of Andela Talent Cloud.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I just want to take you back a step back on the partnerships that you mentioned that you had this week. Is this the first platform you are mentioning about the partnerships? Because that's great for us.
Yeah, great. This is not the Microsoft? First platform. We were just at a massive conference. Our team was last week.
Okay.
And publicly announced it. And then we also did a lot of press this week. So the news is out on terms of those 2. And then we have as well a page on our website that kind of details a bit more, right, about the other ones that I mentioned, NVIDIA, et cetera, about the others that we have. But I will say these are exclusive for people who are in the talent marketplace, right? That is our goal, is to make sure that, because they've worked hard to get into the marketplace, that they have access to those opportunities as well.
Amazing. Now, moving on to the meetups, we are going to have Tech in Ghana next week. Hopefully by that time, this video will be out. Yeah, so what should we expect from Andela in the upcoming Tech in Ghana conference? What should attendees expect?
So attendees can definitely expect a lot more insight into how Andela has helped transform tech hiring and the tech hiring ecosystem in Africa over the last decade. I'm not sure if you all know this, but we actually celebrated our 10-year company anniversary this May. We were founded in 2014 in Lagos. So yes, snaps to that. Happy birthday, Andela.
Happy birthday.
I'll also be sharing about more of the win-win nature of adaptive hiring, that model. Okay. And I have a presentation during the conference next week, and I'll plan to kind of highlight a bit more examples. I know I mentioned the weather company here, but more examples and stories that bring the model to life and also show how those attendees can take advantage.
So attendees are literally going to get jobs at Tech in Ghana. Can we say
I
that?
wish I could hand them out. I don't know if y'all ever watched the Oprah show, or maybe there's memes out there too where she'd be like, and you get a car, and you get a car, right? Everyone gets a car. I really wish that were the case. I promise I wish that were the case. But they will have access to, the knowledge of what can they do and to be inspired. I think people come to these types of conferences too, especially we're at the end of the year, to be inspired. How can I set myself up for success in 2025? So even if it's just hearing a fresh message about, that inspires them about what's happening on the continent of Africa, or yes, maybe being able to connect with a company who's in the room who's looking to hire. Like, awesome. I think any of those things will be a win-win.
Okay. And my last question before I shoot it out to my colleagues to ask questions would be, what about startups, right? In your conversation, you kept mentioning some of these big companies and how Andela's Talent Cloud serves them. Okay. Do startups benefit in any way from this adaptive hiring model, and how? Can you share? And you can also touch on some of the benefits of this model as well.
Yeah, I think we definitely have a lot of large companies. We love to talk about the big names that we service, and also they have a lot of great use cases too. So yes, startups also benefit from an adaptive hiring model and also from Andela. One of the easiest ways they benefit is that they are able to adopt more of a strategic workforce strategy.
Okay.
A lot of startups have a more agile and need to move more quickly, right? Exactly. And maybe their budget's actually pretty volatile, and maybe their team, right, is very stretched thin. So for us, we're able to really fill skills gaps for them and help them scale more quickly, because we know the nature of startups is that things change for them so quickly. And traditional hiring, I think, probably hurts them the most, because they don't always have those HR teams or HR structures and functions there. And it's often, slow, expensive, and just not flexible enough. So some of those, for sure, benefits that I think are able to help, especially for long-term for startups, is that they're able to, again, sign a contract with the right talent for the exact amount of time that they need. They don't have to do a long-term and hire someone full-time and have them sit, right, and pay the salary. They can pay them exactly for the skills that they have for the amount of time that they need them, and then they can move on when they're done. They're also able to stay on track with the roadmap. Roadmaps at startups change pretty quickly, right. And sometimes without much notice. So they're able to achieve that business continuity where they need it, because they're able to bring in people, and sometimes they're even able to get into their backlog. We did actually a research study with one of our big SMBs was a part of it. We had like a roundtable discussion, and one of the things that they were talking about was being like, they have a back burner, right? They have a backlog. Yeah. And in some cases, Andela helps them bring things off of their backlog to the front burner, quote unquote. So they're able to have that to deliver. And then another thing is, startup teams tend to be stretched pretty thin, wearing multiple hats. Mm-hmm. So this adaptive hiring model and Andela are kind of able to give them a bit more of stretching their budget without snapping it and making that hardship, press on their team. So, the flexibility, the scalability of the model is very fit for startups and, as well as, of course, the enterprises that I've been chatting about.
Yeah, great. And to the team, I think this will be a great addition to the Ghana Tech Playbook, right? Having an adaptive model. From the conversations we've had with the 25 tech founders, what do you think? And do you have questions for Akua?
I think, looking at an adaptive model will be beneficial to the tech playbook. But Akua, I just want to take us back a little bit to talk about yourself for the benefits of, our listeners, especially our female listeners. What has been your experience at Andela? What's the company culture like? And can you give us a little bit of, your journey and how you got to Andela to just help our listeners?
Yeah, I like that question. That's a great question. So I have been at Andela for 3 years.
Okay.
I've been a product marketer in the product marketing department this whole time. And the way I got to Andela first, I would even say before Andela, there were companies that I was considering and thinking about. I wasn't actively being hired for them, but thinking about this idea of how can I help Africa, right? There's this mission about, the tech scene in Africa, and the fact that I first experienced it in South Africa, also in Cape Town. So I'm glad someone else mentioned Cape Town and that thriving tech scene. And I realized, there actually is something I can do as someone who was born in America, has connection to Ghana, that I can do to help Ghana, to help Africa. So I came across Andela through a friend actually had recommended that I apply to work in product marketing for them. And the biggest reason that I wanted to work for Andela was the mission, right? The mission is connecting brilliance with opportunity so everyone wins. And the fact that the company was started in Africa, in Nigeria, as I mentioned, and has always had such an importance and investment in Africa, connected those two things for me, right? My interest and my passion in that sense of like, how do I help, right? How do I be a part of this? And then the reality of, oh, I can work for a company who is doing this and who is helping talent in Africa. So that was a good connection. I was fortunate enough to get the job and get hired in product marketing, and my experience has been amazing. I actually just celebrated my 3-year anniversary at Andela last week. So it's been, yes, more snaps. It's been an amazing ride. Yeah. I've gotten to work with amazing people. We're a fully remote company. So people across the world, we have an amazing product team, a lot of people based in Argentina, based in Brazil. I literally just got off a call with some of them before this. Wow. We have amazing people too, based in Europe. I actually as I've traveled, I've gotten to meet people who are based in Ireland and based in London. And as well, being on the continent of Africa, it's been cool to see, like in real life, to make that connection of like what Andela is attempting to affect and what we are trying to mobilize in the different tech scenes here. So it's been great. It's a great culture. We move fast. The mission is so near and dear to our hearts. And it's been such a fun ride.
Just to piggyback on Puga's question, did you grow up in Ghana?
I grew up in the US.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you grew up and all your education was in the US? And
yes, all my education, including college, university, was in the US.
Okay. That's cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So yeah, just a little bit. Probably I touched on it, but probably you missed it. How's your experience like as a female working in tech? What's your experience like? I don't want to add any prejudice to the question, but what has your experience like been generally? And, what would be your advice to other females that want to get into tech?
In general, my experience has been really good. Obviously, there is a gap, right? There are definitely more men in tech than women in tech. So most of the rooms that I am operating in general, I would say mostly have men. And so there is this sense of, I think coming from me looking outside, maybe people don't look at me and say this, but as I'm speaking, I try to make sure that I have like the facts to back up what I'm saying, or that I'm making sure that I'm speaking with authority, and that, I can, be a bit more assertive. And maybe that's also more of an American cultural thing in workplace, but I try to be those things. But I would say that I've been really lucky to rub shoulders with amazing women in tech and have looked to them as mentors. At Andela, I have a mentor who works really closely with me. She's not my manager, but she works really closely with me, who's helped me to understand and to navigate different situations in the workplace and like different growth opportunities. I've had the past 2 bosses I've had are both female, one of which was our CMO. And so I would give the advice to women in tech. If you are, the first at your company or in your ecosystem, you will not be the last. Just remember that you're not going to be alone for long. I would say, look around and see in what ways you can bring up and motivate and mentor, if you're able, those women around you. Also make sure that as you're mentoring, you're being mentored. There's this like image I have of like a bucket, right, that has a spout. So if you're pouring everything out of your bucket through the spout, then like you're eventually going to be empty, right? That bucket will be empty. So you kind of always have to have something pouring in so you can pour out. Similar to my experience. And then kind of what I was first saying, learn as you go, right? Learn as you go. If you are someone who's a bit more quiet, know that you have a voice. You can speak up, you can speak loud. Know that you have an opinion and your opinion matters. Don't let, even if it's just your own bias or society's bias, shut off your mind to thinking you you don't have a perspective or you don't have a view, because you do. You do have a view, you do have a perspective, and I think it's important for you to voice it and be strong about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Akua Sencherey, for joining us today for Building Bytes. And I guess we are rounding up. Okay.
Yeah. So just a last question before rounding up. What's your prediction in the talent market? Not specifically to Andela, but the job market in general. I think where should people prepare for, get ready for the future? Which areas do you think there'll be openings, and how does AI affect current jobs? Is it do people need to upskill? Will they not say to lose job, but do they need to upskill to stay in the job market? What's your prediction or Andela's outlook on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're actually going to release a more formal predictions, I think, over the next several weeks. So I'll let kind of the Andela, stance on the predictions come. But the Akua stance on the predictions, my product marketer, my understand on the predictions, is that if you're not already using AI, you're late. You're way behind. You need to figure out, even if it's just how to ask ChatGPT and have a conversation. I think everyone at this juncture needs to be using AI. I was at a conference 2 weeks ago in Spain that was focused on chief technology officers, VPs of engineering, etc. They were advised, they were saying, hey, there is an imperative for your companies, not to necessarily quickly make AI products and blah, blah, blah. It was like your company needs to be using AI. Your own employees need to be assisted by AI, because that level of productivity that you need to produce these new innovations is going to come from a workforce who is essentially augmented or assisted, has AI assistants, AI bots to support them. So if you're a talent, if you're a technologist out there, a professional out there, I would say find a way to use and get acquainted with AI, because it's not going away. It's not going away in the workforce. And you were asking what skills should people upskill in? Of course, there, within people's specific roles, you can upskill in the different technical areas. But I would like to focus on the fact that you should upskill in the soft skills. The soft skills are just as important, if not more important. That's what we've heard actually from a lot of our customers in surveys that we've done on a biannual basis. The ability for you to critically think, for you to proactively ask questions, put your perspective out there, and the ability to be assertive and have a point of view is what clients are looking for, on top of like the traditional communication and et cetera, et cetera. So I would say learn and find different opportunities to improve your soft skills. Don't let that be a second thought, second guess.
So find opportunities to improve your soft skills, and of course, do join Andela's Tech Talent Cloud. Talent Cloud, and of course be a part of a global hire experience. And yes, I'm moving on to the opportunities in the tech scene. The first opportunity would be Tech in Ghana, happening next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Building Bytes, we are going to be there. And so do pass through Tech in Ghana. It's a conference that is going to, Akua has already given us the tip of the iceberg. You are going to basically be empowered about what to learn for the future and get to really understand what's happening in the tech scene in Ghana. And also, the second opportunity here is the open call by the UNICEF Venture Fund, which is it seeks to invest in open source frontier technology solutions, and they are offering up to $100,000 equity-free funding for early stage for profit technology startups dedicated in AI and blockchain markets. And so if you're listening, this is your first call. Please do apply. You can just apply on the UNICEF website. And I think today they did an introductory session of it. And when that recording is out, you'll probably hear it, right? So do apply and be a part. This equity-free funding, guys. Yeah, so that's it for the opportunities in the space. So we have had a conversation with Akua Sencherey from Andela, and this is a wrap from myself. My name is Akua Sencherey. I'm your co-host with
Yao.
And over.
Okay, see you soon. Bye.